You know,
Yep.
we're gonna have to chat today, buddy. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is October 27, 2023. As we come into the day, Amazon reported good enough depending on what metric you want to look at, evaluate, contemplate, think that is one thing or the other. We also got data this morning. In my opinion, it's all I can offer is an opinion. Not exactly great, dude. Not eye-opening data that's like, wow, this is awesome. However, I think it speaks more to the fact that the battle that we're waging right now within the market has nothing to do with data or anything else, but more with narrative and messaging. I think messaging is the word, and I think that falls squarely on the shoulders of the Fed. We kind of talked about it yesterday, but it seems to be, unless there's wars, Bender, unless there's stuff, unless there's like real things that these guys all got the memo, but we didn't. Unless that's the case, the Fed needs to come out and basically say, we're not raising anymore. We're done raising. We are where we're at. The only thing left for us to do is let it marinate and see. Much like how they said that rate cuts were completely and totally off the table, you can forget about it. Never going to happen. You guys are crazy. We're not even there. They need to say, we ain't raising rates anymore. That's it. We're done. No more. No mas. Same thing. Just the opposite. So if you can say one, you can say the other. I think Yellen coming out yesterday kind of spoke to that a little bit, saying, hey, look, it's like, we all good over here. What are you doing? And if anybody believes that she wasn't trotted out there to send a positive message to keep that bottom from breaking, man, we've seen it year after year after year, regardless of who the president is. When stuff starts getting to certain levels, they're like, somebody needs to go talk to these people. And we got green candles. Now, they did sell off later, right? When there was apparently an active shooter on a military base, apparently some other stuff, apparently China moving ships all into places, apparently so-and-so. Regardless of what it is, we did wick and bounce off the 200 EMA off the Qs yesterday. We obviously are below on a lot of other things. The flow is still pretty gnarly to the downside. We really don't have any real upside pops coming in. Apple, it appears that they really want 160 on Apple by hook or crook. That's what they want based on flow and based whether it happens this week or next month. But that's really where they're gunning. I don't know, Bender. We had Intel report pretty well, right?
They did.
Yeah, they actually were not. I know we joke about it a lot, but yeah, they beat all the way around, and I think guidance wasn't bad either.
I think they guided down from what I read a little bit, ever so slightly. Um, I think I could be wrong about that. Either way, it's like the price action was right. Ford's price action was not right. That was not okay with a Ford over there. And then I guess EMPH is down close to 20%, or was at one point this morning. So there is that. It's obvious to me, and watching it again, I was up really early this morning, and watching futures, to kind of seeing how they were being played, to see what the price action was. There are still a plenty, like a very large amount of short sellers out there that are ready to sell on any type of candle that they think that they can get any type of momentum on, and it's like a pack of wild hyenas. It is intense. It is all over it. The candle's up, not nearly as bullish. It's more like, I guess we'll go up if we have to, but man, you give them an out and they are selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Notoriously on Friday, we get VIX melts. Last Friday, we got a VIX melt, and then we got an absolute rip on the VIX into close based on, on the, instability, if you will, in the world. No, but I guess people wanted protection going into the weekend. We're still pretty elevated up here. The dollar's been wobbling in the same little zone. Um, I don't know what else is there to really talk about, Bender, except for getting into these charts. We can talk about the crypto still sitting over 34,000. We can do that. We can talk about commodities. We can do that. We can talk about crude 83, 84, 83, 84. That's its home. It's up 1% this morning. We're talking about gold. Gold's down a little bit. Talking about the dollar.
We got new baby goats.
You got new baby goats.
Yeah, we had two babies born yesterday.
Isn't that late in the cycle?
I mean No, I don't know.
No?
At the same time they were born last year.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks because the weather shifts, and now all of a sudden we went from being over 100 every day to a couple of weeks of nice weather to now it's just rain, rain, rain.
No, nice. Man, you really love Texas, don't you?
I love it. How can you tell?
You've thought about getting one of those Texas Forever tattoos, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
It.
Why don't you take the wheel here, man, and let me see what you're thinking. Yeah.
All right.
Then we can chat to Stonkington. I'm excited about chatting in Stonkington today.
Why is it looking funny? Why is it doing that? Hold on a second. Let me try to reshare this. It's got some weird flashy thingy at the bottom of the screen there.
I do wonder, though, if Stonkington realizes, in a lot of ways that, that we matter too. Do you think he does?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. This is a 60-minute here, and you can kind of see this volume imbalance right in here, which actually, if we go to 15-minute, you can see there's actually a gap in there. And essentially what we've done is come back down in, filled that gap, and that's where we bounced, right? This green shaded box here on the 15-minute, you can see first couple times we came in and probed it. We got bounces. We finally sold through it. And that's what took us all the way down beyond the lows from back in May. Took us down below that. And that's where we got the bounce. And it had a double not exact levels here, but bounce, bounce. And now we're back at a couple more bounces off this green box. Came down, filled the gap, and now we're hovering right there around it. Right. So I think, we've got that area that is was support. See if it can reestablish itself as support today. And you can see this brown box here that was a 15-minute fair value gap right in here that is currently acting as resistance. Got this candle's high, 41.91.25, and you got that low from yesterday, 41.46.25. For me, everything kind of in between here is who knows which way it's going to go, right? I've got to see. We need to get out of this zone, out of this range right here. Let me pull up. It is. See how this lines up. Kind of something sort of. I drag this out a little further. Maybe that's not what I wanted to do. You can kind of see trend line, kind of this triangle in here that we're stuck in. So this is what we've got to get out of. Oftentimes, we get these wicks that'll come below it, and then it'll, pull back in. I wouldn't be necessarily looking for a break of this to be a trade that you chase. But this is kind of where we're at. This is where we're stuck right now. Again, you can see the area in here that was support. And a few times it's acted as resistance. I think the key to really try to get something going is going to be this over this 41.91.25 and establishing support above this fair value gap right here. So above 41.85 half or so, 41.85.75. You still got this gap sitting up here. But for us to get anything going, right, we got to get above this fair value gap. That becomes support as far as getting anything going to the upside, right? Now we've filled this gap. So as far as downside goes, we've already taken out, let me go to, let's go to like a 3-day real quick. So we've already taken out these lows, like we talked about from back in beginning of May, end of April. We've taken all this stuff out, right? And now we've come back down and we filled that gap we were talking about. And we'll look at that again on a 15-minute. But we've taken out those lows. We filled that gap. So at this point, if we come back down under, say, 41.50, or even back through that gap and that gap becomes resistance, it's like, okay, where do they want to go from there? It can get ugly, in my opinion. Because last thing you've got is the daily fair value gap here. The bottom of that, 41.17.25. So that's another 60 points down just to fill that in. And if it doesn't hold there, then, I don't know what the next objective would be other than down here. So going back to the 15-minute. Again, so we've filled that gap in. We took out those previous lows. That's this blue line right here. So if we find ourselves back below that, we're likely targeting down here at a minimum, but probably the bottom of that daily fair value gap, 41.17. I think that's about it. I know you're super excited. Can't wait to talk to Stonkington. So, Stonkington.
Oh boy. What did I do now?
I don't know. He said he was excited for this. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'll let you go through your stuff, Stonkington, and then we'll close out. It is Friday. You know, some people just listen for the actual important stuff.
Got it. Oh man, the anticipation is going to be heightened. Let's go through news and upgrades, downgrades. What do we got? Let's see. Chipotle, big beat. Everyone's all horny for some Chipotle over there. Rivian upgraded. We already talked about. Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about the Intel. The Bank of Japan. That is going to be an interesting one. We've talked about this one in the room before. Everyone's wondering about this U.S. dollar Japanese yen 150 level. This, we keep rejecting there, and the Bank of Japan saying no comment, no comment. We're not intervening, but everyone's like, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy that we get here and we reject, or are they just intervening and not telling us? Because back when this happened before, that this is where they were kind of like, oh, we got to do something. We're doing yield curve control, so that this is kind of like looming in the background. And then, yeah, we kind of, looks like you guys are already kind of looking at crude a bit over there in the room. What else do we got? DXCM Diabetes up. They did a $500 million share repurchasing, and they're up 17% pre-market. And let's see, anything else? ALGN, they're also doing a share repurposing program. Love downloaded to market perform from outperform. Tesla's increasing Model Y prices. And I think that looks like it's about it. Groupon, we saw flow in Groupon, they're up 7%. Anything else? Oh, Enphase, I think, yeah, solar is just a hot pile of garbage ever since that Sedge fail the other week. So, yeah, Enphase is down and price target lowered. And then Merck was upgraded this morning as well. So a lot of different upgrades, downgrades. Let's get into some charts. Let's see, we've got a possible smash day to the upside again. It doesn't automatically mean it's going to play out. It doesn't work every time. We'll get an alert here. Basically, we closed below prior day's low, so we're looking to break above yesterday's high, and that is across the board, I believe here. Yeah, we got the Qs, possible smash day to the upside. We'll get alerts in the room. And IWM, technically, if we zoom in here, Larry would have gotten in and gotten out in yesterday's price action. So we were looking for a break above the prior day's high. We got it. He would have stopped out at the prior day's low. We got it. So, if we're going to start to make a move to the upside, I'm definitely going to be focusing on the Russell. I was putting that in the room yesterday. We've taken trades to the upside on the Russell, and it made a big move. It's just so beaten down that it's, they're just waiting to pop it. So I'm going to be focusing on it. I'll call a trade if I see something good. So let's get into the NASDAQ with all the markups on it, which is over there on the ES following along with Bender. And let's see. So we have, we had the this little gap. So here's our, earnings from the other day, things tanking after market close. And here's our gap last night on the NASDAQ from things being good. So we'll see. I mean, you can see we had to go almost fill all of that in before we sold off and then rallied. So we'll see if we have to come back into this area. Very similar to what Bender showed us on the ES. We've got this 15-minute gap here. We've got this kind of wedge, and we know we're going to have a lot of stops sitting above and below. So equal highs and equal lows here on the NASDAQ to get it going. Let's see if we jump over to the 4-hour. Really funky looking, but maybe that's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We've got our gap. Orange box, we're in this weekly fair value gap that you can see we've filled in all of. And then we have on the daily, we've got volume imbalance, daily fair value gap inside. Part of this orange box is going to be this candle's high, that candle's low, that big sell. And then we've still got the new week opening gap. So some things I'll be looking at, just basically prior day's highs. Below, we just want to mark out that low, which also happens to line up there. It looks like they maybe got that guy by a tick. And see if we can get back into this big flag. Some of the things I'll be looking for today on the NASDAQ, but I'm kind of feeling like in buy the dip mode. So that's kind of my mindset going into today on the NASDAQ. Russell, not a lot's changed. So, we looked at this level on the daily. We bounced just above it. We looked at this one. We've been kind of stalking these levels for a while. And then if you on the 4 hour, you can see we're starting to be, got these trend lines looking here, kind of falling setup. We'll see if, we've got a long way to go to break it, but then similarly janky left shoulder head, potential right shoulder over here, new week opening gap in this weekly gap that we've been looking at, and then yellow boxes will be daily fair value gaps above. Some of the things I'll be watching over here on the rusty bag of dick. I have murder plane. Not usually on my top of my list for a watch, but they hit it with a lot of dark pool here. 179.09, that was last night. And there was already some money sitting in this area, so I just kind of added it all in together. So now we're up to around 15%, 179.09. So I'm going to be watching. That's going to be mainly the focus. So let it bounce around a bit on this level, and then, or above or below, and then see which way we start going. If we go to the upside, this is, this would be potentially, if we catch a trade to the upside, this would be a first place I'd be looking to potentially take something off, would be up at that 184. If we go down, I'll be looking down here at that 174 dark pool, or we probably would want to keep an eye on that low as well on the murder plane. So we'll see what we get over there. And then the other one I was going to keep an eye on today was Netflix, mainly because a lot of all these other charts that I like to trade, it's like they all look like complete trash. Like you look at Apple and it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? But here, so Netflix above, we've got a key level 412.05. You can see the reactions here, support, and then we lost it. And then that was kind of like the sell-off point. And then below, we've got this 399.25 support, resistance, support. So if we get down there, I'll be looking to see what they do with it. And other than that, I'll be kind of looking at commodities, crude and gold, call anything interesting in the room. And I think that's about it for me.
Thanks, Stockton. Very good. All right, man. Well, I think we have a lot to look at. I think we should pretty much expect anything. We should expect a strong move upside, expect a strong move downside, expect to do absolutely nothing. All of those things can happen together at the same time. I think that's the environment that we're in. There's nothing clear. There's no flow for me to necessarily chase to the upside, and we are fairly bludgeoned to the downside. And if you're looking at the overall chart, like Bender showed, we really haven't moved anywhere off the bottom, even though we've kind of moved off the bottom. We really haven't gone anywhere. We're within a sneeze of being right back down there to flush. So the way I look at it, today is Friday. Be smart, be safe. Make sure you set yourself up to have a good weekend, whatever that means for you. Try to achieve it. Stonkington, yesterday, you came up. You came up in conversation.
Oh
and
boy.
The general consensus is that you, now that you are in a rock and roll band, are now big timing us.
In what way?
Since you've joined said rock and roll band, we have had no more songs. We've had no more.
Oh man, well you got to pay to play now.
You see, this is what I was talking about. He has already forgotten where he came from. We gave him this platform, this stage.
Did your agent tell you to say that?
Right? He's already in it. he's too far gone. It's over. It was.
I
I think
mean,
everybody in the room is sitting there, kind of. It's like we were able to look past, the whole guitar thing for the most part. Now we add this into the game. It's just like, who is Stonkington? Who is this dude? I
hey,
don't know, Stonks.
I'm the man of the people, so you got to give the
Well,
people
uh,
what they want. Then
I think you have left the people behind. At least that's what the people believe. You can believe what you want, but the people decided yesterday that you have indeed left them behind.
well, the creative process, creative juices are always flowing. So I may have to. I'll bring something back. Bring back the work I've been doing. No, we're not ready for any Van Halen
There's a
eruption solo.
candle. It's a
Oh,
fat green candle.
I mean, that's an instant classic, right?
yeah, of course. I mean, I'm ready to bring that one back for sure. So,
Well,
give
I
the
don't.
people
We
what
don't
they
want
want.
you to. We don't want pity play. We don't want that either. Because it's like if it's over, it's okay for us to be like, it's over. We can move on. We don't need you to pretend. So just keep that in mind. Anyways,
Well,
I thought it was worth bringing up. It came up yesterday. I don't like to have things hanging out there. I like to have the conversation when we need to have the conversation. So
yeah, the good thing is, I can let this band know that there's no possible way that we'll get a crowd that is as fickle as the one in this room. So that's good. I'll be ready for that. I'm
yeah,
prepared.
why don't you try rapping for him and see how that works out? Why don't you?
I'll tell them, you guys, why don't we cool out on the rock songs, and we'll throw in some
You do that next time you're in your jam session.
band
Surrounded
practice
by
tomorrow.
You could just be like, hey, you know what I'm really good at?
and then
Shaggy.
and then start spitting. That'll let's see what the reaction is there to see if you want to say that it's us that are like, God, this is horrible, or if like there's other people that would say, yeah, no, you can't do that. Anyways,
So ready.
we appreciate you, Stonk. Much love.
Good time.
We have
Good
about 13 minutes until open. I don't have anything else. Just be smart. It's Friday. That's all I got.
All right. Well, final words of wisdom.
Open your vagina and be free. Just open it to the world and be free.
We'll see you in a few. And be
And
free.
Be free.
Yeah.